Greetings. This is near the end of January. It's Monday, Tuesday. Monday. It's Monday. The third week of January. And I'm a little bit off because I've been distracted ever since the 23rd of December. I'm going to tell you a story about HOAs that you're not going to believe. You talk about getting set up for a sucker punch. I got sucker punched 2 days before Christmas, and I'll tell you the story. My last dues bill for October 1st that I had to send in September, that dues bill had no charges, nothing on it but a straight dues payment of $285. To me, that was my report card for the last 3 months. There's nothing on my report card. I've got a clean bill of health. We're going into Christmas. Yahoo! I put all this stuff behind me. I think I have, because it's only $285 and there's nothing on the bill. There's nothing that says anything about any fees, penalties, fines, anything. And I haven't received anything from the HOA in 3 months. So let's take a walk. Now I'll show you why I was a little upset and a little felt like I got sucker punched at Christmas time. I hope you can hear me. I just spent a month installing that 28,000 BTU mini split air conditioning. I replaced the 19-year-old one. It had already leaked. It had leaked upstairs. It had leaked once. I patched it with some sealant, can of sealant, put in it, and stopped the leak. But the old one had to go. This one sips electricity. I'm going to get a rebate from my taxes because it's a green product. Okay? I spent about $2,500 in materials and a month of labor putting this into the house. Okay? It arrived. I ordered it before Christmas. It was my own Christmas present to myself. All right? I saw clear sailing. No, nothing on my report card about having problems with the HOA. So I put this in. Now that's a month of work. Not only that, but my finger right there, I got 3 stitches in that finger working upstairs. I almost broke my tailbone falling on that wall right there off a ladder, putting that thing up there, which happens in every job. But why I feel I got sucker punched is I went out and made this investment in this house. I got a month of hard labor and $2,500 tied up in this. Only to, what slowed me down just before Christmas is my family took off and left the family dogs with me for a week. So I babysat the dogs. I had them like just before, well, from about the 19th or 20th on for about a week, 5 days. And on the second day, I get my HOA fee. And literally, I'm 74 years old. I'm 74 years old. I have my good and bad days. When I opened up that letter, that HOA bill, it was $4,300. They had started charging me $100 a day from October 1st to the 15th when they stopped billing. And they've been charging me $100 a day added on to it. Now, I have no clue, or I have no record of any letter they ever sent to me in the last 3 or 4 months. They don't have my address right. They keep sending it to the wrong address. And a lot of things don't make it. I had Christmas cards that went back this year to people because the address didn't go through. They didn't update it, okay? Even though I had updated my forwarding address, the Christmas cards didn't go through. It was the same thing with these HOA letters. I've received nothing. Now, what we're looking at is my neighbor's yard. The basis of all these letters from the HOA has been my yard. They mention your yard, you're doing something to it, whatever you're doing, you have to ask permission. That's it. Well, this is my neighbor's yard. If you're going to charge me $100 a day for my yard being out of compliance, do you see that bush right there? That's brittle brush. That's weeds. Splurge. More weeds. More brittle brush. There's a century plant that's dying. That one's getting ready to die. This tree right here is encroaching over my property line. It's an encumbrance, all right? This yard is a mess, okay? But are they getting a $100 a day fine? I don't think so. And the reason you don't see any weeds between the house here, the two houses, is about 6 years ago, 7 years ago, I put down plastic, tar paper down here, and no weeds can grow here. I've got it lined with plastic. Okay? Now, everything to the right of this column right here is my neighbor's property. Okay? I'll go get this one right now because I'm making a movie. See, I came over. That's a weed. It's coming out. I'm taking care of my side. Let's go back to his side. Okay, this is a renter. This is a rental. The landlord, because of the way the windows are set up and this patio are set up, the people who live in this property never come to this side of the house. Now, these renters have been here about 4 or 5 months. I had to make a video when one renter came over and took all those golf balls. I made a video about it. Had to call the police. But that was just about the time when they moved in. That's when these plants started right here. You see that? That's brittle brush. That's not a garden plant. That's not an approved plant. That's a weed. See all this weed? The reason you don't see weed on my side is everything here is covered with landscape fabric. And I even went to the trouble around the 1st of December. I was seeing that those weeds were getting bigger and bigger. They haven't been touched since October. They started charging me $100 a day just about when those weeds started growing. And look at them now, 4 months later, 3.5 months later, they're huge. Now, around the 1st of December, I came out and I trimmed this plant so that the people on the architectural committee, when they went by, could see this. They can see that my yard, no weeds. And one thing about my method of putting down landscape fabric under coarse stone, taking all the sand and pebbles out of the stone, is this is 3 years old. In 3 years, I haven't had to put any chemical on it. And I don't have any weeds. Here's another one. Okay, this tree. The trees aren't supposed to be higher in the house. That tree is there to protect the windows. All right, I had a tree here, and they wrote it up. So I tore it down. It was just another thing. I had to tear a tree down because it gave them a reason to put another piece of paper against this house. Now I have another piece of paper against this house I want to talk about, and that's the building permit. The building permit, the master plan community, this master plan blueprinted community, when they built this house, Meritage, the builder, went downtown to a bureaucrat, and they changed the master plan elevation of this house. And they penalized the house. They penalized it 3 inches in its drainage plan. They took away 3 inches of head pressure over about 95 feet to the street. And whether you say, oh, well, that sewer pipe, that main pipe's so deep, I don't care. It's out of compliance. This lot, this house, finished floor elevation does not match the master plan community. Now, every letter I get, all the fines I get and stuff is because I haven't adhered to the continuity of a master plan. Well, to continue the spiel, now I'm going to go out and talk about this tee box. I've come up with a term I've lived with here for 19 years. 19 years I've been here, I've lived with this. Indirect assault. What the golf course gets away with here on this hole. Every tee box, I'm in range and downrange of every tee box. They love to take that tee box and push it all the way over to the corner and all the way back. Anybody that's done statistical analysis, I took 6 hours of statistics in college, and then I took a 3-hour calculus class, which was everything in that calculus class was based on statistical analysis probabilities. Okay, area over the curve, area under the curve, any mathematicians out there? Well, what it is we have indirect assault. The golf course assaults my yard every day by putting that tee box back, and then when they put it over on the thing. But just having it right there, it's bad enough. I'm in range and down range of mediocre golf. And the indirect assault is the clubhouse knows that we got some of the worst golfers, dumbest golfers, weakest golfers in the valley out here. This is a starter course. It's the cheapest place to play in the valley, so you bring them out here, nobody's watching them, nobody cares, you can play whatever tees that you think you can play, whether you got the game in your bag or not. I have to sit here day in and day out and see beginners, starters, old men, young men that have never hit a golf ball before, sit there and these spastic swings, spasmatic, overswing, underswing, whatever, weak grips. All you need to do is have some strong ape with a weak grip and an open face, and I'm it. Okay? I'm about, right now, 50 yards, 60 yards from that tee box. Okay? All the other tee boxes are like a mortar position. I'm sighted in. This is indirect. We have what we call, in New York when I was growing up, they had no-fault insurance. And they had assigned risk. Well, I'm a victim of the golf course's assigned risk. Okay? When they should take that whole tee box area and take it to the other side. Take it to the other side of the pond. Make everybody, give this place a little class, a little character. Make everybody, even the women, hit it over the pond to get it there. Make them make a lake shot at Sundance. Give the place a little class. Take me out of range. But no, I have to put up with their no-fault insurance. Because every time I get a broken window when I go into the pro shop and I want to make a report on an accident. They say it's a unintentional accident. Well, I want to go make a report. Maybe somebody will look into these accidents that happen every day. Okay? Another thing I want to talk about is foul ball territory. To make this user-friendly to the morons that play here, in dungarees and t-shirts with no collars and tennis shoes and whatever, it's a joke. I can't believe what golf is sunk to. Golf is sunk to where the Republican Party is sunk to, and now it's even the Marine Corps. They got three election deniers in the Marine Corps. They should kick them out of the friggin' Marines. All right, everything is falling apart in the last 25 years. I've been here 20 years. For the first year or two, you saw nothing but well-groomed, well-dressed golfers, my age, baby boomers and Korean War veterans, okay? They're all dying out. Half the people I knew in high school are dead. I'm still here, I'm 74. But I played enough golf to know that these young whippersnappers running this cash register over here think that we'll just say it's an accident. Every time somebody hits a foul ball in his yard, and then look at those white stakes. You see those white stakes right there? That's how they make this course user-friendly for morons. They put that white stake about 10 feet from the cart path and all along the way, people have a little more focus on the green. They don't have to focus. It's a shotgun shot here. We have all the way. We don't hit a foul ball on this course until we put it in somebody's yard. That's the rule here at Sundance. We don't have a foul ball, or we're not going to pay a penalty shot until we put it in somebody's yard. That's the purpose of those yards. They're landing in recovery area, foul ball territory. And when you give them all this room, when you say you can hit it all the way up there and on into those people's yards before you pay a penalty, people start getting brave. They get less focused, right? Oh, maybe I can make that 177-yard shot. I don't want to lose the ball, or I don't want to hurt my score, so if it was narrower, I'd probably hit from the senior to shorter tees. But since I got all that room up there, I'm not going to be out of bounds or hit a foul ball until I put it in that loser's yard up there, right? Well, that's my spiel. And the thing of it is, the reason for this, what I have here and what I've done here, I'm a Marine. I was in for 4 years to the day. Went in on May 8th, VE Day and Victory Day in Europe, 1968, and I got out on May 7th, 1972. I've had enough authority in my life. I'm an expert on asshole authorities. I was in the Marine Corps as an air winger. Okay, we had a little different philosophy on life than the infantry. I will not say anything bad about anybody that was in the infantry. Okay, God bless you. But I wasn't. But I had to play the infantry game every 3 months. I had to take tests and do all runs and all this other drills. Every 3 months, every year I had to qualify with a rifle because we're all basically riflemen. Well, the reason I built this is I was plagued, burdened, whatever you want to call it, with being overrun. You see these little green plants right there? Maybe somebody that was in the Marine Corps, I got a taught a lesson once about breaking ranks. I had just gotten out of all my training, my first chance to go on leave in North Carolina, ITR, Jacksonville, Camp Geiger, all right? All ready to go on leave, go home, and I watched everybody else go. Me and a handful of other guys that were destined for the Air Wing or a special school in the Marine Corps, we had to wait. Well, that night after getting assigned to a what they call a transient barracks, where you're there temporarily, the first thing we all did is, where's the beer chute? Where's the slop chute? Where can we get a beer? So I went drinking that night, and first time I'd been drinking, 19 years old, and they had a drive-in. Anybody's been to Camp Geiger, the outdoor drive-in where you sit on the wooden benches outside? Well, when the slop chute closed, we went to the movies a lot in ITR outside, so I went to the movies, and I passed out. And when I woke up, I was a little bit off because of the alcohol, and because I had been programmed to fall in, I started falling in with a platoon. And the next thing I know, about 4 or 5 Marines hit me, kicked me, punched me, threw me on the ground, got me out of their platoon. I had broke their ranks, okay? You see these little green plants here? There's about 30 of them, 25 maybe, I don't know, 20. These are my little green Marines, okay? Any golfer that hits a ball over these or walks over them to get his ball that he hit over here, is breaking ranks, okay? That's why this is built here. That's why this is built here. Anybody that lived here, the lady that lived here got so used to seeing people walking in this yard over that corner. The first thing they do when they hit a ball, anywhere along up here, anywhere along this line of houses, if they hit a ball, they start looking right there at that white post. They come up to that white post and they start walking this line. Looking in everybody's yard to recover a ball. All right? They think it's okay. They're FNG golfers. They're so stupid, they don't know that they're supposed to stay out of people's yards. Okay? But that's okay. As long as they bought a greens fee, they got a patio pass. That's the way the golf course looks at it. When I called the police and the police come out here and I go, they walked over my lot and they broke a window and the guy goes, well, it was an accident. They didn't mean it. I know they didn't mean it, but the golf course every day puts that tee box there. When I make a report, every day I'm getting balls in my yard, all right, and people walking in my yard, and they're not trying to fix that accident. It's clearly a problem. This is harassment. This is indirect assault. We're going to keep putting it there and breaking his windows and blaming it on no-fault insurance. We have a no-fault insurance policy. As long as we tell the police and the police tell him that it was an unintentional accident, we're off the hook. But we can put the worst golfers in the valley on that tee box day in and day out and let them fly balls, foul balls in my yard all day, hitting 3 or 4 balls at a time, holding up play, all right? I'll stop here. But I just wanted to let you know, I almost had a heart attack that morning when I opened up the letter. Can you imagine anybody here? Anybody here on a fixed income, retired fixed income, who did the same as me? Oh, and another thing, I went out and spent a little money on Christmas. Christmas isn't a big holiday for me, but I always remember everybody in the family. That's another thing. And I'm going to close with one last thing. I used to be a card dealer and dice dealer craps up in Reno. I did it for about 3 or 4 years, dealing dice and dealing 21 blackjack. And the old timers in the casino around Christmas time would walk with a crouch because they knew what was coming. They knew what was coming. Usually it'd be the most popular or outspoken person on the shift, the person that always spoke up in a meeting or stood up for the crew, or the person that was looking for schoolyard justice whenever in the casino, or she was young and pretty and the old battle axe queen bees that had to drop on all the bosses knew who they were sleeping with and everything like that. The queen bees didn't like her, so like I said, everybody walked around with a crouch around Christmas. because that's when they lowered the boom. And that was the casino racket. That was Reno, Nevada. My girlfriend got fired on Christmas Eve. She was a good-looking, a tall, blonde. She had worked at this casino for about 3 or 4 months, and they had given her a chance to date some of the people on the crew, the pit bosses, some of the other dealers. She didn't do it. She came home to me every night, or I think she did. Anyway, she kept refusing to go out with anybody. She kept telling them, I got a boyfriend. Well, they waited. We both went to work on Christmas Eve, and within a half an hour from the time I got on my crap table, she walked in and said, they fired me. And she had spent about 2 hours that night getting ready, because all the 21 dealers, the ladies, they all spent 2 hours every night putting their makeup on because they made tips. Their appearance made money for them. So she had spent all night. It was Christmas Eve. And again, people had spent money. She had spent money for Christmas. And that ain't the other one. In my casino, they did the same thing. They always get rid of 2 or 3 of the most popular people. All right, I'm not popular. But what you did to me, first of all, you kicked me out of the HOA 3 years ago. That was like Midway. You know in Midway where that sailor there that saved this Enterprise from that airplane attack, he got up in the back of the plane and he shot the airplane as it was coming right down on him. It was him against the airplane, and the airplane missed the Enterprise. And then on the next day when he attacked some Japanese carriers, his plane went down and him and the pilot got picked up by the Japanese. Remember when they threw him overboard? They said, where are you from? Who are you? And he told them, get bent. Yeah, get bent. And they threw him overboard. And then they, a few minutes later, they had to speed it up for Hollywood to make the script move along fast. But I can imagine the Japanese might have left him in the water for hours. Hours and hours. Just let him bob out there in the water. And then finally what they did is they took about the 600 or 700 pound anchor that was tied to him and threw it overboard. Well, this is the analogy I made when you kicked me out of the HOA. You kicked me out of the HOA 3 years ago because you want to keep this track day entitlement. I call it an entitlement. You want to keep it under the rug. Okay? That's why it's there. And I had to be kicked out of the HOA because I'm the only one in the community that cares about it, who wants it back. I want to get what I paid for. I feel like you treated my money I brought from California as half-value scrip. Okay? The only people that have real money are the people from the Midwest. All right? The people that think they want to bring their farms with them. Okay? I'm an urbanite. I've lived in very high-density population areas in my life, especially the Marine Corps, okay, where there was rules to be followed. And one of the rules of the master plan for this community is everything has to match. The board's duty is to make sure that everything matches, and we don't match over here. And the last thing I want to say is this house, I have the building permit for it, and I have the master plan blueprint for it, and they lowered this house 3 inches on purpose. This lot was a storage area for water before I got it and before I found out. When I found out what they did, I brought Woody Scouten out here from the town of Buckeye. He was the head guy for civil engineering. I brought him out here, and he admitted the water can't get out. He told me, he says, the water can't get out. He admitted there's no way the water can drain on the golf course from your lot. And he says, then he gave me the 36-hour rule. He says, that puddle's there in more than 36 hours, come and see me. Well, that 36 hours for a retention basin. No lot is supposed to be a retention basin. And right there in front of a board member, Ed Kelly, Woody Skelton told me, and that was my permission, and that's why I did all this work. He said, you can do whatever you have to do to get the water off your lot. Ed Kelly heard him. He was right there. Another person was there, was Phil Marcotte. But the head civil engineer for Buckeye about 9 years ago, 8 or 9 years ago, told me, you can do whatever you have to do to get the water off your lot. Now, I watch a lot of history on YouTube where they interview Vietnam veterans, Korean veterans, World War II veterans. And every veteran, especially the Marines, they say we won so many battles because they let us think for ourselves. Yeah, we're gung-ho and we take orders, but our objective, when they give us an objective, they really don't bother us in how we're going to get it. They just go get it, all right? And they let us think it out without doing bonsai charges. And that's what I was doing here. I'm being overrun day in and day out by people who are given the luxury of all this space up here to drop a ball in my yard. And then when they come up and want to walk in my yard, they usually do it over that corner. Since I've had this here, I've taken a little initiative, marine initiative on myself. I'm not going to ask the board if I can protect my house and my property from trespass. And that's why it's here. And ever since it's been here, I don't get as many people walking in this yard. Okay? They have a boundary now. They have to, a threshold they have to get over. Okay, that's why it's there. Now I'm trying to be as honest with the board as I can. I've been here 19 years, going on 19 years. I paid dues on 3 houses. I paid taxes on 3 houses. I think I have a perfect reason for an abatement hearing. Like I said, this no fault assigned risk. When the guy in the pro shop, either through ignorance or malice, says, put the pin all the way back on the right today and move the tees all the way back to the corner. As close to the cart path and on the corner as you can get, and put the flag back on the right as far as it can go. You've created a perfect storm. You've just nailed me to the cross. You just burn a cross in my yard. Okay? Everybody knows that. Now, is it malice, stupidity, you got a hard-on for me, or what? How about getting this thing on the other side? The thing of it is, you're FNGs, like they talk about in the Marines during Vietnam. Okay? You're FNGs. You never ran a golf course before. You never played high-density golf before. You've never played golf in a community like I did. San Francisco, Seattle, Reno, a lot of munis. Every muni, they put up barriers. If there's a chance for somebody to get hit. And these are old courses. That's the thing. This course is a baby. It's only like 19, 20 years old, 22. Okay? These courses are 50, 60 years old. They figured out where to put the barriers, where to put up the fence, where to put up the nets to keep people from getting hurt. Okay? In fact, one course I lived on in San Ramon, they moved the whole green. They took the whole green and moved it to the middle of the lake. Because the green was tucked in with a bunch of townhouses. People were getting bombarded day in and day out with people that made bad shots off the tee. It was a dogleg right, par 4, about 395 yards. And if you didn't get a good tee shot off the tee, which a lot of people, amateurs, don't, you're back there 220 yards, you go, I'm going for it. So you pull out your 3-wood and you crush the thing, and it's a leaker. Well, it goes in somebody's balcony in a townhouse. This is what's happening for like 25 years. While I was there, like on the 35th, the 37th, 8th year that the place was in business, they finally took that green that was tucked over by those houses, like where those houses are, and moved it to the middle of the lake. They gave the place some class. For the first time in like 40 years, you had a mandatory lake shot on the front nine to get the ninth hole. I'm used to seeing that. That's what I bring to this golf course, but I've got a bunch of FNGs from the Midwest who love dungarees and collarless t-shirts and staying drunk, all right, and screaming and hollering at me. Ever since I've had those chairs there, I've had about 4 or 5 incidents where people have screamed up, called me names, F you, whatever that. One time, about 2 years ago, January, that was right at the height of the COVID. They had a mass spreader event down there on the tee around 5 in the afternoon, around February 1st, about this time. They had like about 15 or 16 golfers all down there drunk from the Midwest. And they were all shouting obscenities of me. Yeah, you with the camera, F you, right? That's what I deal with, because they don't like that being there. The women, if I'm sitting in that chair, the first day that the women saw me sitting in that chair there, every woman it seemed like that played golf that day, when she saw me there, she got her camera out and took a picture of me up on the hill. What's he doing there? What am I doing here? I'm sitting on my yard. I'm sitting on my yard that I pay dues and taxes on. All right? I should be able to sit in my yard. If you're going to use it for foul ball territory, why can't I sit on it right to the thing? You're playing right up to the white marker there. That's right up to my property line. The other one's down at the end of the other green thing. But I'll stop here. I'm going to send it YouTube to the manager and a whole bunch of other people too. My heart's been broken ever since I got that letter. Can you imagine, after spending all that money on that air conditioning unit and the time I've spent on it, and then buying the Christmas presents, thinking that I'm safe at home, only on the 23rd, they didn't mail that letter until like the 20th, all right? And I opened it like on the 27th, 2nd or 23rd. Literally, I almost had a heart attack. They threw the anchor overboard. 3 years ago, they threw me off the boat because they don't want me telling anybody about what we're missing over here in Tract A, what we're missing over here in Parcel 12. And then another thing is, I ran for the board last year. They put this heavy thing on me now that I can run for the board if I don't have anything outstanding. Well, right now I got about a $6,000 bill outstanding. $6,000 bill outstanding, and it's $100 a day. $100 a day. Have you got film of me breaking into the Capitol building? I mean, the people that broke into the Capitol building aren't paying this much. All right? Look at this. Look at this. This is my neighbor. This is a rental. This is a slumlord that's not taking care of its property. That weed has been growing for 4 months. I've been paying $100 a day, or I've been charged $100 a day for 4 months. The weed right there has been growing for 4 months. Nobody says a word about it. That one's growing. That one's been dead over there. You see that one that's dead over there? That's a century plant. When the long stalk comes out of it, it's dead. That's sitting there right there. Nobody's writing that up. This guy isn't paying $200,000 or $100 a day. I took the initiative of protecting my property. I paid dues on it. I paid taxes on it. If I want to use it right up to the, if you're going to use it right up to the property line, I should be able to sit out there right up to the property line. And you see these trees? I put them in there for privacy. That's another thing. The ladies' tee box, right there where you see that turquoise, they got a perfect shot into my patio. When they're teeing off, like right behind that soul cactus up front, they're looking right on my patio. All right? I don't like that. I've got the trees there, the cypress trees, and I've also got that bank to increase my privacy. Now, you people put a sign up on track day for Dan Veskerna about 2 years ago because he wanted privacy. He wanted to bring his farm from Nebraska with him. I don't have golf carts going by my farm, my house in Nebraska. I don't want to see him here. Well, he's an FNG, all right? He doesn't have any experience. He's a FNG person to high-density urban living. See, in high-density urban living, plat maps mean something. To him, that plat map means nothing. When it says it's supposed to be an access easement for everybody, absolutely not. I need my privacy. Well, if you can give him his privacy with a sign, you can give me my privacy and letting me build that there to keep people off my property. Thank you for listening.